Yeah, all right. So I wanted to kind of do a video of you because obviously you've helped me out, in
Yeah,
terms of the diet, in terms of the training. My journey was obviously putting on weight and
yeah,
building. What I'm finding with a lot of my clients is they have the opposite task,
losing body
right?
fat.
Mm, Losing body fat. Because obviously the next thing that comes is, to enhance the wardrobe, the part of your image is what's underneath
Yeah,
rather than what clothes you put on yourself.
they can fit in and then maybe feel better when they have sex.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. More energy, more motivation,
Lights on.
fun stuff. Yes. So, I thought we'd take this time, first of all, to, introduce yourself
Yeah,
and also maybe some things that you've passed on to clients that have helped them. Let's say, losing 10, mine was putting on 10 kgs, right?
yeah,
In the space of, I don't know, how long that took, like best part of like 6 months, I guess.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, spend this time to introduce yourself, and then we'll kind of go into maybe some tips on how people can, you know, achieve that sort of thing with the diet and the training.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Chris. I've been working with Johnny in the past on his muscle building program. And as Johnny mentioned before, most people and most of my clients actually come to me to lose body fat rather than put on weight. Um, and yeah, Johnny asked for a few tips on what would be like the main thing to do when your goal is to lose body fat. And the first thing that come to my mind is probably to increase your protein intake and increase your movement. So whatever it is, if it's weights or any sport of your choice, then you would go for that. Um, and also start counting your calories. There are a lot of useful apps like MyFitnessPal where you can count your calories. Um, one
I'll
of the
put that
things
in a
is
in a in a link on this under this video as
yeah,
well. But you sent me a calorie counter or
calculator.
something,
Yeah, so I've got a
calorie
calorie
calculator, right?
calculator. Yeah, so first thing you want to establish what is your calorie requirement. So for your basal metabolic rate and your movement, um, you can use my calorie calculator or perhaps any calorie calculator on the internet. This won't be very accurate, but it's kind of a starting point. So you can start with the calories that the calculator will give you once you input your age, weight, how much you move throughout the day, and what is your goal. And I'll give you a couple of options and try it for 2 weeks. Be consistent with it. See if the weight is shifting. If it's not, then we'll have to probably make some adjustments. So either increase the movement or exercise or decrease calories. So good thing is to monitor your progress. So one thing you can do, most reliable thing is probably weighing in on daily basis. Another
Yeah,
thing,
like
uh,
you had me buy these like Bluetooth
yeah, withing
weights.
scales.
So
So they
yeah, with the
check your
scales.
body
Yeah.
fat percentage and also, so yeah, these withing scales would be quite helpful because they give you a body fat percentage, and if you know your body fat percentage, you can then calculate your calorie requirement more accurately, and then also you can see whether you're progressing in the right direction as you're checking your body fat percentage. Because sometimes weight might not be shifting, but body fat percentage might be shifting, especially when you uh, at the beginning of your journey. Because if you haven't exercised before, you might be putting on a lot of muscle, but then losing body fat at the same time.
Right. And how do they get, because what we're learning is like the diet is such a big thing, especially
Yeah.
for me. Like I was training for years and just sort of hitting a ceiling with, I was getting tonality, I
Hmm.
was feeling my muscles more, but there was certainly a calorie deficiency,
Yeah.
so to speak. So once you've sort of understood like how many calories you need to take in, how do you then construct the diet plan? Because that was super helpful for me. Like I was able to print off the diet plan you gave me, stick it on the kitchen cupboard door, and every day I look at it. I can't
Yeah.
escape the diet. So how do you
Yeah,
kind of
so
construct a
so
diet for someone
to
like that?
to start easily, obviously wholesome, natural foods, that's what you'd want to choose. And then um, you want to get your protein target quite high. So to be very, not very specific here, but for somebody that wants to lose body fat, protein needs to be at least 35%. Okay. In some cases, I will go even higher than that of your calorie requirement. And then fat should be about 1 gram per kilo of lean body weight. So roughly here, we're looking at 25%. And then the rest would be carbohydrates. So obviously wholesome foods, and then you can structure your diet as you wish. It could be 1 meal a day, it could be 6 meals a day. There are some benefits to both, having more regular meals and then having less meals. It's more likely to what kind of fits into your lifestyle, uh, as long as you hit your protein, carbohydrate, and fat targets and your calorie targets consistently throughout the week. For some busier individuals, I would recommend also maybe give yourself weekly targets. So sometimes when you undereat or maybe overeat, you can always rectify it
Balance out the
throughout
next
the
day.
week. Yeah.
So I guess, from what I'm hearing here is basically, once you've got that calorie target, daily calorie target, and with the right percentages of, protein and carbohydrate, is there any sort of resources that you could share with us that can, you can just take that information and plug it in and it gives you, like, it punches out a diet plan for you?
ChatGPT.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, sure.
ChatGPT is very good. It's not
That's
so
great. Yeah.
accurate at the moment, but it will give you
Mm.
a good kind of, standardized some sort of diet. But I've tried to use it before, and unfortunately, it's not very accurate. It's not at that stage yet. Even the upgraded version, the paid version. So one thing would be just use MyFitnessPal and make sure you stick with wholesome foods. Ideally, single ingredient. It's the best for your body. Natural, comes from Mother Earth, as they say. So less processed stuff, and then perhaps once a week or so, you can also treat yourself, which could come into your weekly calorie requirement, if that makes sense. So if you once or even twice
Okay.
a week, as long as it's within, because obviously not everyone will be, so rigid with it. So if you give yourself enough space in a week to consume, let's say, a pizza or something that you fancy that fits into your calorie requirement, it's something that will give you a mental break from dieting, but also will keep you propelling forward in terms of fat loss.
Okay, great. And what do you think is like the minimum someone should be going to a gym to achieve his target?
So the gym, if you want to lose, muscle build, because obviously once you build some muscle, you automatically lose body fat percentage, even if you don't change weight. So I would say 3 times. 3 times is a
Three
good
times
starting
minimum.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times is a good starting point. Um, two, absolute minimum, but then you have to do something outside of it. But I don't think you're gonna see any major muscle gain with 2 times. 3, 4 times.
Yeah. No, I'm
That's
in
more like so.
agreement. I mean, you're saying like, so yeah, two days a week minimum. And are there any sort of things to avoid? I mean, I think for me, what was important is that, going to the gym and just doing weights become monotonous to me. It wasn't really
Mm.
fun. It kind of, um, it got a bit boring. How I made it fun was I added a bit of boxing to the end of the session. And that
Yeah,
was
so
kind of like the motivation for me. Like, what do you think is a good way to switch it up?
yeah, so just as you said, if you don't enjoy weight, so you do, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a week, because they also not they important, but doing some kind of strength training is important not only for the muscle building properties, but also longevity. Increases your bone density, and also, later in age, your balance is improved. So, most people, they get older, the biggest problem they face is damages from falling, basically tripping over because they don't have enough balance. So that's something I always recommend for somebody to do for the rest of their life, at least 2 to 3 times a week, right? But then obviously, if you don't really enjoy weight so much, I always recommend find some activity that you do enjoy, which could be, I don't know, fighting sports, any play, ball sports, anything, running, cycling, whatever you like. So yeah, just find something that you really enjoy, maybe a group of people you can do it with that you like, and then do that on top of your weightlifting. But who knows, maybe you will find weightlifting very, very interesting and fun, so like me.
And I think realistically, one should start to expect to see changes within how many weeks you think? I mean, I definitely saw. I was starting to see transformation within 6 weeks when I
Yeah,
was really
well, it
going for it.
really depends. Most of my clients online usually take about 2 weeks to get the ball rolling,
Yeah,
because there's trial and error, getting used to the program, getting used to the new routine, getting new habits in place, because it's in a way you gotta change few things around and you have to stick to these new things. So to answer your question, it varies from individual to individual, but yeah, you should start seeing some good results after, you know. Yeah, it would very, I can't really answer. It can vary from individual because, depending on how much body fat percentage they got, sometimes, it can be few weeks, sometimes it can be few months, but as
yeah,
long as someone's persistent, obviously there will be some kind of muscle gain and fat loss, and for the bigger individuals, I really do recommend weighing in, because these changes are not very obvious at the beginning. It might take even a year or so.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's it, man. I think great. I mean, there's some good tips there. Basically, I think it's definitely start from understanding how many calories you gotta take in a day,
absolutely.
and then diet, movement, consistency, 4 days at a
Creating
gym,
new habits. Like there's
new
this book
habits.
I really like, Atomic Habits. I don't know if you know about that. So
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah,
just changing things. So instead of, for example, sitting on the sofa every evening at 6 p.m. watching TV and eating pizza, going to the gym and then getting a healthy meal. And then once you start doing it more often, it becomes so much easier to kind of stick with it, because it becomes a new habit rather than, something that you struggle with. Same as with, you didn't always sit in front of the TV at 6 p.m. and eat pizza. You kind of acquired that habit, right? So it's just
yeah.
breaking that pattern and creating a new thing.
And like I always say, the hardest thing is getting into it, just starting again. The hardest thing
Yeah,
is get starting
it's
the
all
habit.
about, first step. First step is the most
Hmm.
important step.
Yeah.
And then once you go in, and then also a lot of people will fail a few times, I would say, or maybe have a little break. But as long
Hmm.
as you get back on that horse and carry on riding, you're good.
Excellent. All right, mate. Well, that's plenty for the guys in this group to absorb and take on and get started with. So yeah, thank you for jumping on the call and sharing that with
No
us.
worries, Johnny. Anytime,
Um,
anytime.
Great, cool. And again, like if anyone watching this video is looking to get something custom or bespoke made, then that's something we do. A lot of our clients actually see Kris and get these personalized programs sorted out. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out and inquire about that if that is a necessity. But start on your own first of all. Gain momentum at your own accord.
Amazing. Love you, Johnny. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.